Hi, if you're menopausal and you're finding the idea of what to wear difficult, or you're finding that you no longer fit with the clothes that you once wore, or potentially that you're finding that your symptoms are affecting how you used to dress, then this series of videos is for you. And today we're going to be talking about how to dress for the dreaded hot flushes. Now, 70% of all women who have symptoms have hot flushes, so it's not ubiquitous, but there is a strong likelihood that you will experience them. My name is Kate Usher and I'm a menopause coach, and I'm joined today by the most amazing Gail Morgan, who's an image coach and trainer, and she has, gosh, what she doesn't know about image and styling isn't worth knowing. So, hi Gail.
Hi Kate, lovely to be here.
Oh, it's so super that you are here. Okay, so a little bit about hot flushes, and then I'm going to hand over to Gail because this is not my area of expertise, certainly. So they're called medically vasomotor symptoms. So they don't know why they occur, but they just do. And how it feels is suddenly you are intensely hot, and it usually starts in your chest and your back, and then it goes up through your body. Face goes red, you start sweating, you can't think clearly or straight anymore, and it can affect your confidence most definitely. And I know it did for me. This is one of my big symptoms. So there are obviously things that you can do for yourself to help you through these things. So one of the obvious things is, how do you dress to cope with that, apart from the dreaded cardigan? Because nobody wants to feel like their grandma with their twin set and pearls, taking their cardigan off, putting their cardigan on. And there must be some easier and more sort of dynamic ways to dress to manage this phase.
Well, there are good cardigans and bad cardigans. I won't let cardigans get the rap completely. I mean, the easiest thing, and it's not to sound trite or anything like that, is layers, is the obvious answer in whatever way that works for you. So it doesn't have to be a cardigan. It could be a cotton layer, or it could be a jacket that's kind of quite an unlined jacket that's kind of quite cool, could work for you as well. And the obvious thing again is to think something that's not restrictive, because anything that's too tight is just going to feel uncomfortable, and it's just going to feel like it's like a sausage cocoon kind of thing going on if you do get hot. Let's be blunt about this, ladies. That's what it feels like. So having a little bit of wriggle room literally within your clothes is really, really important. And again, you could say things like natural fibers. Cotton, I would say, is the key one. Unfortunately, linen and silk can look a bit rag-like if you're not careful, because the combination of that heat and everything else doesn't really work with anything that creases badly. So although in theory that could work, in reality it can look like a dish rag if you're not careful. So really looking for things with a high cotton content. And it sounds very boring and very basic, but to a certain extent that's the starting point for dressing and thinking about your clothes that you would choose to wear.
I know that, like, all the polo necks, anything that was tight around my neck, long sleeve things, I put them away, and I don't think I've ever really got them out of the wardrobe again. And silk, terrible sweat marks with silk. Absolutely not. And linen, well, you look like you slept in it. But I think that especially as now that we're maybe for some women, they're starting to think to return to the office. But for many of us, we'll be at home still working remotely right up until the autumn, I think. So we'll have to get through the summer with, dressing and trying to look fabulous and in control through the heat of the year, whilst and while still looking, you know, professional about it. So what sort of tips have you got? Because I know one of the issues that I had was my makeup would slide down my face. It was horrific. So people were staring at me, not so much because I was sweating, but because I looked like I'd been crying.
Yeah, never a good look to see your face melting away. The key thing there is to look for a foundation which is water-based. Okay, so you want to avoid anything that's oil-based and anything that's got paraffin or mineral oil in, because it is just going to end up as a slick. There are so many different types, so many different ones that are kind of almost like a tinted moisturizer where they've got some sun protection in there as well, which obviously is great if you get a moment to go outside. So I definitely look at those as alternatives rather than a very oil-based foundation, because that's just going to be awful. Obviously, there are, you can do waterproof mascara, so that's going to help as well. And there are various kind of eyeliners and things like that, which are gels and actually don't melt in the same way as, something else might do. So those would be my top tips for makeup. The one thing just to be wary of is that, yes, we might want to strip off and just have a vest top on underneath because we're so hot. But unfortunately, it does kind of undermine our, what's the word I'm looking for? It kind of undermines our professionalism if we're revealing a lot of skin. And so it's finding those tops that maybe have got a cap sleeve or a slightly short sleeve top rather than something that is completely vest top, because it kind of, if you think in this situation that this is all someone can see, then it's not great. So even if I've got a little vest top on underneath here, so you can't really see that. So if you can find something which is kind of lightweight, sort of kimono style jackets are really, there's a lot of those around at the moment. So it's interesting, but it's still very lightweight, but you're not revealing a lot of skin.
I think that's a really, really important point, because quite often you just think, I don't care, I'm just going to wear this because I can't control this. And I think that just outside of the clothing issue, desk fans, I've got one, and they just plug into your computer and they are a godsend. And no fans, not those horrible plastic, hideous things that whiz around and for me get my hair caught in them. But they're gorgeous, sort of very, coquettish.
I'm just going to fan myself gently here.
Yes, I have actually, in meetings when we all were in person, done the old folding backwards and forwards of a piece of paper to create the fan like you did when you were in primary school. But they're just as effective for all the reasons that those glorious fans that were used in Victorian England and before that were. So, those things are small things that you can do, and if they get around that issue of the vest, then I think that's fantastic. So there must be some great sort of dresses and things like that for this season that women must be able to wear, that help them to feel in control and on top of it, even if you can only see like this bit here.
And I mean, that's a sort of a bonus, isn't it? That actually we could be wearing shorts and just wearing a top that's sort of smart, or a jacket, and have the fan going up our legs from underneath, sort of thing. So there's lots of practical things there. And yes, there are dresses that are simple shift dresses that are easy. What I would be wary of is the style that's around is what's called the buffet dress, these very tiered and layered dresses, which are very voluminous. Now, if you can get one which looks good at the top, so it's kind of fitted here, but you've got a lot of, then it's very light and airy underneath, then great. But it's not the most flattering style for the majority of women. So just be aware of that actually it can make you look like a buffet if you're not careful, because there's too much material. So there's a very sort of fine line between voluminous and skim not cling kind of dressing, which is kind of the one I would kind of aim for more than the voluminous.
That's a good term, actually, skim not cling, absolutely. And I suppose if scarves, I mean, I became expert with scarves because they were an added layer of warmth, that I could take off very quickly when I needed to, but also they added a bit of colour around my face.
Absolutely. So again, get a lightweight one, maybe in a silk at that stage, if that could work for you, or something very lightweight and gauzy that again you could put over just a basic simple t-shirt. You know, I remember once going out and meeting someone, and I just in reality had a pair of navy trousers on and a white t-shirt, but I put a scarf with it, and she was going, "Oh, you look so chic, you look so well turned out." Da, 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 da. And I think, I take this scarf off, I just look like, you know, I've got a t-shirt and a pair of jeans on. But there you go, you know. So sometimes it's just very simple things, but that obviously could add heat to you if you're not careful, especially at the moment.
Yeah.
So again, a statement necklace of some description, or some interesting earrings, glasses, obviously, and makeup will help, certainly when you're in a Zoom situation.
Okay, so let's roll forward just for the last section of this, in the sense that in September, many offices are, for those who aren't calling back now and waiting to see what happens at the moment, but are looking to fall back to the office in September. Come the autumn, what kind of thing can we be looking to do in order to control that temperature? Because obviously then it's another kind of dressing again. So we're getting into the autumn and the winter, and as I say, nothing around the neck, long sleeves. Oh gosh, there's a whole other series of things going on there.
Yeah, and again, it could be layers. It could be finding those jackets that you could put over a very simple shift dress. If you know, I mean, I can remember going to events and things and having to think, oh, you know, I've got to wear a jacket all day, but you wear as little as possible underneath it, and you know you're never going to take that jacket off, and you just have to gird your loins and know you're going to have to do that. Or alternatively, you look for that dress with the little simple sleeves, the skim not cling, or a blouse. Again, be careful to go not for darker blouses, because if you do suddenly start to perspire, then you don't want sweat, you know, coming through and being seen. So again, a lighter weight, lighter color, or a soft pattern or something like that could really be useful. And again, avoid really restrictive kind of work shirts, because if you suddenly feel like you're, again, it's that expansion, isn't it? You even though as soon as you get hot, you feel like you've doubled in size. Yeah. And we don't want to do anything like that for us.
I think that's a really good point as well. I hadn't really sort of verbalized that, but that's so true. Okay, so this is the first in a series of 4. So today has been all about hot flushes. Then the next video will be all about weight gain. Then we'll be dressing for confidence. And lastly will be that dreaded exercise. So how do you dress for exercise? Because exercise is so important at this time of life. Don't forget, leave your comments. It's been so great, Gail. Thank you so much. And we will see you soon.
Thanks, Kate.